All right. The great Steve Atwater joining us here on Broncos Country tonight. Steve, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the game against the Falcons and really actually the last couple of games. Broncos are getting off to a slow start on offense. What can you identify, in your opinion, is the reason why they're getting off to a bit of a slow start? And if there's one thing that they can improve on in the game upcoming against the Raiders, what would it be?
You know what, man? I don't know if it's one thing, but, just looking at the tape of the offense, there's just several instances where guys' legs are getting tangled up. Guys are not able to make blocks because they're off balance and, running into each other. It's just everything is not as crisp and clean as it needs to be. And we're back in. Hey, Drew Lock, he actually didn't play as bad as I thought he played, the first few quarters. Our offensive line, they didn't protect well enough for him, and it was just too much pressure up the middle. He made, a couple bad decisions in there, but overall, I thought he did okay. I thought he did good enough for us to win, but the offensive line, they're going to have to step it up and actually get that footwork together, make sure that they're not tripping over each other, and, some of the timing was off on some of the plays. I'm not as disappointed as I was when I initially watched the game after watching the film.
Let me ask you a question, Steve. One of the main features of Pat Shurmur's offense over the years has been the screen game. The Broncos are almost not using screens at all this year. Do you think that that's a function of the offensive line having been so piecemeal this year, or do you think that Pat Shurmur's just suddenly changed his offensive philosophy and doesn't want to use the screen game anymore?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's that. If we don't have our timing together on plays that are, kind of tied right in with the line of scrimmage where they're not, getting outside of the tackles. Imagine what the time would be trying to do screens in that. So I think we're trying to get, build it from the inside, and hopefully we'll be able to get to that. But yeah, with the timing, seeing the way that it's been, and with all the guys that are rotating in and out, it's just tough, man. It really is. I definitely don't think Pat Shurmur has changed his offense, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how much of the early offensive struggles are tied to development in your case, in your opinion?
Still quite a bit, because we still don't have 5 guys that have, started each and every game, and even a majority of the game. We have, a rotating lineup, it seems like almost every week. And we also have young Lloyd Cushenberry in the middle, again, one of the most important positions on that offensive line, and he really hasn't played as well as I think he's going to play in the future. He just doesn't seem like he has some of the strength and the punch sometimes to handle some of those big, strong defensive tackles, but that's going to come. I'm not worried that it's not going to come, but it just takes time. It's like, when your kids are 3 years old and you want them to be 5, man, they're just 3 right now. I mean, we're still in an early stage with a lot of young guys on the team, and as bad as we want them to be, right now after 8 games, we want them to be 6-2, 7-1. Hey, we're not there yet, man, and we got to put in the work. There's no easy way to get better than to put in the work and get the experience.
So one thing that I do notice about this team, and when we've interviewed players, they brought this up as one of the things they feel like is a strength of theirs, a bedrock of theirs, is how resilient they are. And something we've seen, even in losses or wins, it doesn't really matter. They just show a certain level of resilience. We've seen in past with teams that the Broncos have put out there on the field, where when things start getting down, it just sort of snowballs on them, and you see guys kind of checking out. I don't see a lot of checking out there. Do you think that's something that you agree with the team, that the players in the locker room, that's something you can kind of build on?
Yeah, most definitely. But although they aren't checking out, it's frustrating, and I've been in that same boat, man, where you're working hard, you're going out doing everything in practice, and then just in the game, it's not coming together. And, there's no way to improve it but to keep going back to the drawing board, keep working. And, if the Broncos could win a Super Bowl with guys who weren't even on the roster at the start of the season, and, no disrespect to the guys, hey, I respect some of the players, but, some guys who were playing they weren't even on the roster at the start of the season, if they could do that, hey, everybody would do it, right? I mean, why would you pay Von Miller $18 million. You can go get somebody off the street that you can pay him $500,000. It doesn't work like that. And I'm saying that to say that we have a lot of guys who are quality players who aren't available. And there's no way we can expect this team to come out and play the way we would have played with Von Miller in the game, with Cortland Sutton in the game, with Jarrell Casey in the game, with A.J. Bouye, with Bryce Callahan, with all these guys, with Juwan James, the list goes on and on. You just can't expect it to be the same product. And, I know we want it to be, but it's just not.
And with that, we'll say goodbye.